What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Wise Guy Digest, episode 5, I believe. Yes, 5. We're moving right along, and again, apologies for the lateness. Also, apologies for the short show. Busy evening. Been working on some things. Actually created a community page on Facebook for Wise Guy GSE, so expect to see that link in the description of the VOD and in the SoundCloud and iTunes and Google Play and Stitcher. Yes, we're on all of those places. So if you want to watch the VOD, feel free on YouTube. We appreciate you hitting that like button and subscribing to the YouTube channel. You can also catch us on one of those other places I mentioned: Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play Music. If you just want to listen to the audio format, that way you can listen on the go and not have to worry about using your internet. So um, definitely check those out. Check out the group. The website. The website's coming along, people. We are definitely getting the website. I finally formatted the pages. I just have to get graphics. I am really, really trying to find someone who's good at designing logos and things like that, so I can spruce things up and make it a little more colorful. Um, So yeah, also anybody who have any tips and tricks on how to make a presentable website, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm new to all this stuff, kind of working solo on most of it, so it could be a little rough because getting the podcast together, putting it into audio format, trying to come up with new content ideas, and trying to contact people for interviews, things like that. It's wild. Speaking of which, the Wise Guy cast will be back soon. It's just been a very busy and emotional time with all that's been going on in the world over the last week and a half. All the shootings, the protests, the drama. My time has been focused on those ideas, and so the interviews I haven't set up yet, but they will be coming back. We'll be talking to a graphics designer, which I think would be really cool, because I think he'd have an interesting perspective to talk about from that and from YouTube as well, as he's a content creator. Um, talk to some musicians, things like that. So you're gonna get some interesting stuff from the Wise Guy cast and from Wise Guy Gaming, Sports and Entertainment, all over. I mean, we're trying to do a lot. By the way, shout out to our sponsor. We have a sponsor, Just Read. I will put his link in the description. He is an artist who designs t-shirts. Some really cool t-shirts. Check out his Facebook page. I think you'll enjoy his work. Hit him up if you find his work good and you want him to design something for you. He'll do custom designs for you. So definitely check that out. Now I think I got everything out. Oh, yes, the Patreon. By the way, the Patreon page. Feel free if you want to help support the site and help us grow, be able to um, finance some of the things that we do, like the rent for SoundCloud, getting new material, adding new software, things like that to improve the site's quality. Feel free to head over to the Patreon link, which is in the description. We're only asking for $1 a month. Nothing more. You'll be able to post on forums. You'll see some of the content early, and um, it helps us out, and we appreciate it. Any and everybody who wants to help us out. All right, now I can move on. So, first topic. First topic. Size matters. This is two different things. So, um, let's start with the first. First is No Man's Sky. They recently announced that No Man's Sky will be 6 gigabytes on the disk, and I noticed a lot of people on my URL, my TL, I should say, not URL. Can tell I'm kind of tired, people. Um, on my Twitter TL. Gosh, I've been doing the Goat Daddy thing too much tonight. My Twitter TL. People have been going nuts about the size and like, should I be worried? Is this worrisome? For me, I say no. Never was that huge of a graphic intense game to begin with. But I think the thing that got a lot of people like going nuts was that they said that most of it's going to be audio. There's also a patch in the work that's coming, which I'm not surprised. It's gone gold. These days, games, they basically just um, work until they can go gold and then patch everything else in. And in a game like this, that's going to be online reliant of their service. So does it surprise me. Now we don't know how much it would be if you are going to download it digitally. The file size could be more expansive. And that's the thing. It said 6 gigabytes on disk. Um, I am not clear. I don't think he ever really cleared the message. And if he has since then, please, someone in the comment section, let me know. And I'm so unprofessional, people. Apologize for having my phone up with ESPN sending me updates about the home run derby. That's hilarious. But um, I don't know if he clarified if that just means that's the install size or that's just what's on Blu-ray. Could be when we install it, it expands to a much larger size. Anyone who has some knowledge of software knows that sometimes that's what happens. Disk size is usually the compression of the disk, and when they install to hard drive, sometimes it expands beyond that. We won't know. Bottom line is, I don't know if that makes or break the game if it has a huge footprint on the disk. Um, we've seen some pretty good games that weren't that huge file size. We've seen some big games that take up a lot of file space that haven't been good. I think right now what's happening with No Man's Sky anyway is that there's so many people out there who have doubt, who don't understand what it and aren't happy with the hype that the game is getting, that they're rushing to find any reason to knock it down a peg. Which, to me makes no sense. Like, for me, from my perspective, the thing that interests me in No Man's Sky is that this whole idea of every place you go, you can discover and you can leave your footprint, and people could see what you do on that planet, see how, if you were the first there, your name on it, and the name that you gave the planet, things like that. This kind of progressive universe that things are always moving, happening. What you do in it affects it for everybody who runs into things. Kind of wish they did have it more interactive. I thought that would have made it even better if they had, not only you being able to see other people's impact, but you be able to run across them and share some of the experiences together. But technically, to me, that's very intriguing, because if you can get this type of system to work in that way on the scale that they're talking, because, in again, people, progressive thing. If you've never heard of progressive universes and all that, it's happened before. There have been games that have had stuff that would continue to go on in its world, but I feel like this right now is taking it to another level. And if they're able to execute this, the implications that it would mean for other genres, open world adventures, things like that, I think would be great. So I'm curious from that standpoint. But from just a game standpoint, I'm probably one of those people who aren't sure exactly what we're getting. I think it's something that we have to play to understand more. The reviews or previews, I should say, of the game, people have raved about it. So that's encouraging. But I feel like I would need to get my hands on it myself to really understand it, or at least, talk to somebody I know who would give a really good overview of it if they've played it. So I'm not one of those people who are just like, oh my god, like it looks like it's going to be an amazing experience. But as time went on and as less information trickled out, I started to be like, well, the technical stuff is still the thing that has wowed me, but I will reserve judgment until I play it. Now, of course, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are ready to bury it and say it's dumb, it's overhyped, you know. And on the other side, people are just talking about it's going to be the greatest game in the world. Thing is, we don't know. And this whole size thing is just another piece of the argument that I find very silly. I found it the silliest part of the argument because if you're somebody who's using the file size thing as an excuse to say the game ain't going to be shit, it's kind of like, you know, not true. Because again, we've seen some great experiences that didn't take up a big file footprint. And I guess the people on the side of it's going to be great are defending that, and I guess I got to side with them because, yeah, I don't think that it's going to matter. Now we'll see if it matters or not, if it hurts the experience, but at this time I can't see that. So I don't think that in this case size matters. On the flip side, the next subject is the CS:GO scandal. So we've had some interesting stuff going on with that. We've had videos put up with apologies with dogs and they're taken down and all of this. It's been the talk of YouTube, and it's very justified because it's something that could impact content creation in a big way. We just had a case come about where Warner Brothers was implicated in falsely and not disclosing their promotions of their games with YouTube content creators, not giving disclaimers that they're giving people promotional material and things like that, or they're doing videos that were promotional and not saying so in their stuff. And the FTC came down on them and said, you're wrong and you are liable. I forget exactly what they were, what the penalty was, but they lost their case, which I think is huge. I think this is something that's huge that is kind of reflective on the whole CS:GO scandal as well. Because a lot of people's debate in the CS:GO thing is, well, these are just two people who play video games on YouTube. It's not that big of a deal. Should the government really care that much about what they're doing? I mean, they just do YouTube videos. And again, it's a case of size matters, where Warner Brothers, a big, well-known company, just got into some of the trouble that they got into, which the FTC disclosure thing is only part of their trouble, but it's a big part of their trouble because not being transparent on YouTube is not a cool thing. Lying to your viewers in order to manipulate them to try a product that you're promoting is wrong. It's wrong. You're hustling people, and you shouldn't do that. And that's the thing. We have for years been like saying it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's content creators. But we also get very upset when we see these people do these things, and we lash out. We rail. That's why I have a hard time finding sense in those who think that it's not a big deal and it's not going to cause much trouble, and it shouldn't cause much trouble for these guys. I think a precedent has to be set, and I think that if these two guys who are considerably big as far as YouTube content creators are concerned, especially in the gaming community, if they get hit, well, this shows that, hey, it's not just a corporation that can get touched. It's these quote unquote not so important people who are cheating the system getting caught too. Everybody can be found liable. And I think it's important that it goes down so others who are coming up trying to do YouTube will know, hey, you can get in a lot of trouble for this. You want to be honest. You want to be transparent. You want to do YouTube the right way. And I think that's the thing. This is needed to show people how to do things the right way. or at least to put a little bit of fear in them, so they'll know, hey, you go down this path, it's likely that you can get caught. Try if you want, but no guarantees that you're going to get away with it. Yeah, at least that has to be put out there. I mean, people are going to still do what they're going to want to do at the end of the day, regardless. Again, this corporation knew better, yet they did it. And you would think like a corporation has to know better, especially a large corporation like Warner Brothers, who media is a big part of their income source. So, yeah, people are going to attempt to cheat the system, but as long as we have some type of idea that, hey, anybody can get caught and you can pay, I think that helps. I think that helps to deter a lot more people from not doing it than it does to doing it, because as long as there's no real retribution, why the fuck not do it? You know what I mean? If you're continually seeing people get away with it, of course you're going to think, well, maybe I should do it too, because nobody's getting hit. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how this continually goes. It's going to be interesting. Once we get to the conclusion, hopefully it'll bring something positive for the community. Um, Now, moving on to sports. So the free agency madness has pretty much settled down. The biggest pieces of all, fell into place. Kevin Durant in Golden State. Um, I guess Russell Westbrook, the impact of next year is now having a slight impact on this year, because now everybody's trying to figure out, is he staying? Is he going? What's the deal with him? Is he going to be traded? Yada, yada, yada. Dwayne Wade went to Chicago. Um, and, everything's pretty much settled. No huge contract news lately that I could see. But now the debate is loyalty. You're seeing a lot of older basketball players come into the conversation discussing how they don't think that Durant should have went where he went. They would have never done that. Larry Bird just recently said, I couldn't imagine myself playing with Magic Johnson. I would always want to beat him. Charles Barkley made the statement, like I said last time, about how he's cheating and things like that. And of course, fans are sounding off too about loyalty. The talk of loyalty is hilarious to me, because especially when I hear people like Larry Bird and Charles Barkley talk about. See, a lot of people don't remember that there was a time where in the NBA, for stars to move around, to have a choice, to demand a certain amount of um, control over their career path, it was highly it was highly unlikely that they would be able to do the things the players do now, because owners had so much control over the market, how things worked, how free agency was, because free agency, the rules were nothing like they are now. There was less freedom within the rules. You had occasionally that player that would make a big jump, but he would do so. It was like Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We had Oscar Robertson, but it was more. It was like so rare that it didn't, like, you didn't see it enough to know it had happened. Like me personally, I did not know that Oscar Robertson actually played with another team outside of the Milwaukee Bucks. Who knew? Because again, most players, they stay with the same team until the end of their careers, or they get to the end of the careers when they weren't useful enough for that team, and that team would part ways with them, and then they would go to another team and finish out their career. Generally speaking, when a superstar ended up somewhere else, it was because they were no longer effective enough for a franchise. So, but a lot of franchises were loyal to those players in a sense, because they didn't want to let go that star drawer. It's like, why would you get rid of a Magic Johnson, even at the, like, downside of his career when he's still one of your most popular draws. You know what I mean? So financial reasons came into play for owners too. But yeah, the free agency market was more strict. You could make more money staying than you could going. It wasn't like now. It was different times. And when I hear Larry Bird said he'd never imagined doing it, I don't know if he'd ever imagined doing it because I don't know if he'd ever have the opportunity. Think about the money that people made. There was a stat that came out, and I forgot exactly what player they used, but they were saying that this one particular player right now, his contract was bigger than everything that Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Charles Barkley made in their career. That says something. This says something about how players were paid and how finances were back then. Um, you didn't hear about a megastar from the 80s and 90s getting a double digit contract until they got to the end of their career. Like you heard Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan get that like exemption for being a veteran, and they got paid a whole lot in their final year as a thank you. Um, but players weren't negotiating contracts like this. Now players pretty much have most of the control and power when it comes to the free agency market. So they're no longer held to having to stay with the team. They can make choices and do what they want that benefits them. Um, so now we're getting this whole, well, why aren't you loyal? Why aren't you loyal? Well, think about how the times were when it wasn't necessarily about loyalty, but it was more about control. And teams had a lot more control over the player market. Now players are having freedom and they're expressing it. So it'll probably be a couple of years of this madness, but I think things will balance out and players will start to, you know, not everybody's going to make that move for cash. Of course, more people than not will continue to do that, but it's going to be interesting to see how it ends up settling because I don't think that players should feel like they have to stay with the team because they stayed with the team for a certain amount of time, especially if going back to LeBron leaving for Miami, that team wasn't going anywhere. The owner wasn't really doing much that made you think that he was going to help LeBron win. It's funny because you see LeBron win in Cleveland now, but you have to think that had he not left before, the effort that they made to get him some pieces this time wouldn't have happened because look at the teams that he had in his like first run with Cleveland. The team he took to the finals, those weren't good teams. He was doing a lot of heavy lifting. And, he still does a lot of heavy lifting, but it's a lot lighter than it used to be. Um, and that's how it works. It's like Michael Jordan didn't start winning championships until he got the Pippins and the Grants and Phil Jackson as a coach and things like that. Um, Houston Rockets, Akeem Olajuwon was always a great center. Rudy Tomjanovich, and then he gets Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, Clyde Drexler. He gets pieces, and guess what? He wins 2 rings. You know what I mean? It's like nobody wins it alone. Magic Johnson came on a good team. He was blessed to be drafted by the Lakers, who were a championship caliber team anyway, and he was just the new wave coming in to replace the old guard that was about to leave. And once he became the man, look at the team that he had around him. James Worthy, one of the greatest power forwards ever. His supporting cast was ridiculous. Pat Riley, tremendous coach. None of them did it alone. That's the thing. That's why I feel like the argument about the loyalty as well as the whole, legacy thing it's kind of not fair because the only thing I see real different is that these players are moving from teams that they feel probably aren't doing enough for them, um, and going to better situations to try to get that ring. Um, you know, would you be that mad at them for doing this? if this is how it always been, because what they're doing is they want to win. I mean, better than just being somebody who wants to sit and collect the paycheck, which there are a ton of players out there who are just mercenaries who just want to go to where they can get paid. You know what I mean? So, you know, the idea of leaving someplace to go have a better opportunity to win, to me, hey, especially if you don't feel like your team is going to do enough to get you there. And yes, I know Oklahoma City was that close, but you know, he may not have felt like they were as close as we did. So at the end of the day, it's personal choice. People shouldn't really get that caught up in it, like I said the last time, but just food for thought about the whole loyalty aspect of it. All right, so now entertainment, and we're going back to wrestling, people, because goddamn, this shit was so entertaining. In the worst way and in the best way. It's the strangest thing. So if you're not into wrestling, I can understand if you skip out over this part, but so Matt and Jeff Hardy. Some of you who may have watched wrestling back in the day may remember them. The Hardy brothers. They were a perennial tag team in WWE that were high flying, doing crazy moves and things like that. Very, very popular. Eventually, they kind of both went solo, and they had a little solo run each of their own in WWE. And then, of course, as time went on, they kind of faded, and they left WWE for TNA, which is another wrestling promotion which isn't doing that well. They're trying to get themselves back on their feet, and they might have helped themselves tremendously with this new storyline that Jeff and Matt Hardy are involved in. And I don't think it's done, by the way. Anybody who's been watching it, it ain't over, motherfucker. It ain't over. I can't wait to see where they're gonna go with this next. So I forget how it happened because I don't watch TNA like that, but Matt Hardy became Broken Matt Hardy. He ended up having issues with his brother Jeff, and has been harassing him as Broken Matt Hardy. And Broken Matt Hardy is the craziest fucking character I've seen in a while. So Matt Hardy, he's basically kind of himself, but kind of crazy, lost his mind, talking in like a myriad of British style accents. It wavers. It's like he just runs through all these different accents, and he addresses Jeff not as Jeff, but as Brother Nero. He always calls him Brother Nero. Brother Nero, I knew you would come. And if you think my accent is bad, his is just as bad, if not worse. But that's what he does. By the way, for those of you who might be confused at the Brother Nero thing, it's actually a part of the cleverness of their bit. It's stupid as it seems. It's part of the cleverness because Nero is Jeff's natural middle name. He was born as Jeffrey Nero Hardy. So he's still calling his brother by his name, but in a weird way, just call him Brother Nero. It's fucking crazy. It's so crazy and stupid. It becomes sort of brilliant. And they've done these wild promos. Oh my God. Contract signing at Matt's house. They end up in a barn in a ring. And Matt's wife, Reby Sky, she's a women's wrestler. I don't think she wrestles anymore because she just had the baby. Their baby's 1 year old. I think she's just basically chilling right now, playing his valet, helping him with this madness. You have her pretending to be breaking up with him and then coming back out of nowhere doing a confrontation at the ring to throw a fake baby at Jeff, and then Matt throws him to a table badly. So the worst table break I've ever seen. It's you're just sitting there watching this shit what's going on? They had this match at Slammiversary. Matt lost. Uh, had a cage match laws. He acts like he's broken and in a wheelchair, talking in like the horrible accent. No, my legs are too feeble to walk. Like and like he's yelling at Jeff, talking about he needs one more match. He needs to win, and he brings up how you know he wants to be sole proprietor of the Hardy name. Whoever wins this final match will own and control the Hardy brand forever, and the other will be deleted. The final deletion. The final deletion. The final deletion. He's fucking dumb. So they get to the final deletion. Now, the final deletion, he proposed that they have a match in their hometown of Cameron. He sets this match on the property line of his home outside. He lets Jeff knows about this by sending aerial drones to harass him. Vanguard 1 being the one that he uses to project a hologram of himself to speak to Jeff in Jeff's home about the time and location. Fucking got drones attacking him, Jeff swinging guitars at him, chasing him down on bikes, all types of craziness. It's also his son's birthday, so he has a birthday party. His landscaper, Senior Benjamin, brings the xylophone, and he's ecstatic about the xylophone he brought from his son. Then he makes a declaration that his gift to his son is the final deletion of his uncle, Brother Nero. You have a like vignette of Senior Benjamin, quote unquote, preparing the battlefield for massacre. Putting all types of shit under the ring and setting it up. Referee shows up at night. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? What is this? Matt's in the ring, like, I need to summon Brother Nero playing a violin crazily. Jeff shows up in one of the worst wrestling matches I've ever seen. Like the moves and stuff like that, it was not like from a wrestling standpoint, it wasn't a good match. But it was also cut poorly for wrestling because that's the thing. This was a high value production almost. Well, for wrestling, high value because they were doing all types of cuts and things like that and showing different angles of the match and the music, fucking epic ass music. The spots. Oh my god, the spots. The fucking spot where Jeff he hits him with the twist of fate and then swanton bombs. He gets up, so he decides, okay, I'm gonna wedge a ladder in the corner and then throw Matt on here. I'm gonna climb a fucking tree. They fucking put a ladder on a tree for Jeff to jump off of. He climbs up the tree and jumps off the tree, misses because Matt moves and he hits the ladder. He hit that ladder hard. Dude. He fucked himself up. Then, by the way, Matt is just like the ad libs on point. At one point, the ladder that was wedged in the corner, Matt was using to choke Jeff, and he's just screaming, delete, 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 delete. And he did that several times during the match, including after the whole ladder thing. He goes out the ring and he grabs a fucking like firework cannon and starts shooting fireworks at Jeff, who's holding a trash can lid as a shield, asking him what the fuck is wrong with him. Meanwhile, Matt is screaming, delete, delete, delete. I'm like, what is going on here? And like he's like chasing him down, and like Jeff is like hiding, and he's like Matt's looking for him. He's like, oh, Brother Nero. Then also you see him go, he's speaking perfect in his like normal speaking verse. Oh shit. And then he starts running because Jeff gets a like firework rocket and is shooting fireworks at him. And then like as he's running, he hits the line that everybody who's watched it has been repeating, and it's actually been one of the highest Google things in recent times. And I don't know why. But Matt's running, looking for the escape, and he sees, for some reason, there's a boat sitting. Well, they're near a like lake, and there's like a boat sitting there, upturned. and you just hear him scream, "It's a dilapidated boat!" And just jumps in like inside the boat to hide from the fireworks. I'm just sitting there watching this, like, oh my god, this is actually something real. And the thing about it is, they weren't like clowning; they were being very serious. Um, kayfabe in its finest. They were all bought in on this, 100% into this whole shit, which probably is why a lot of people like raved about it, because you don't see like wrestlers buying into their characters or buying into their storylines the way they do. It's rare. It's like New Day is one of the rare people. Bray Wyatt is one of the rare breeds. Very rare to see those type of people in wrestling anymore. But it's like he gets out the boat after fireworks like go out, and they scrum, and then he's putting Jeff in the sleeper. They takes him into the lake, and as he says, what did he say? Brother Nero has been flushed or something like that. And then all of a sudden, someone comes out the water. It's not Jeff anymore. It's Jeff alter ego that he had years ago. Again, some of you might not know because you may not have watched wrestling for a while, but there was a point in time during his TNA run that Jeff Hardy became a character called the Willow and the Wisp. And he's like this guy who wears this like weird, funky jumpsuit with a mask that looks like a tiki mask. And he's just this, I don't know what the fuck, but he's the Willow and the Wisp at this point. And he's just like grabbing Matt and trying to put him to sleep in the sleeper hole. Senior Benjamin comes out of nowhere and hits Willow with a fucking taser. And you see like him grab Senior Benjamin, and they both go down in the water. Matt's looking around like, where the fuck is he? He sees Willow laid out on the ground, and he pins him thinking he won. No, it's not Willow. It's fucking Senior Benjamin. Somehow he got changed that fucking quick. All right. So then Jeff comes out of nowhere and starts like beating on Matt. They go to some type of sand pit, and Jeff chokes him out. Then again, of course, there's a ladder on the Hardy symbol. So Jeff climbs up to go jump off, and then all of a sudden you see this flashback scene where apparently didn't hear this, I don't think, before anytime during the whole production, because why the fuck would you? Because why would you do a foreshadowing flashback but not foreshadow before? I don't know. But he's talking about once this candle's lit, the final deletion of Jeff. I don't know. All of a sudden, the 1-year-old birthday candle is being handed to him by his wife. He throws it in the sand pit, and that sets on fire, which I forgot. Now this is kind of, I guess, a foreshadowing thing, but during Senior Benjamin's preparation of the battlefield for Massacre, Matt rolls up on him and gives him a can of, he gives him a can of gasoline that he used earlier. What did he use that earlier on? While Jeff's fucking running from drones, you see Matt crazily mowing his lawn, fucking up his landscaping and all that. But anyway, he gives him the gasoline and tells him to apply it generously to the battlefield. So, he could use fire for the deletion or something. Anyway, apparently the gasoline was generously applied to the sand pit, because he throws a candle in there and it sets the fucking Hardy symbol on fire that Jeff is standing atop, and you see Jeff just fall to the side. For a minute, I thought he was going to roll into the fire and burn the fuck out of himself, but he didn't. He just stopped himself. But that knocked him out enough so that Matt could finally pin him and complete the final deletion. And god damn it, if that sounded as wild and fucked up and all over the place as I think it is myself, just imagine watching it. And it's like everything in my being, like as a wrestling fan, wants me to hate it because it's just retarded, but it's great because wrestling doesn't try to do anything crazy or to do anything that isn't like in a box, that isn't well manicured, that protects their you know stakeholders and their fucking ad revenue by just being cookie cutter. They don't really go out and do crazy things. I understand Attitude Era was a thing where they were just like fucking off the wall, like rampant with the cursing, the sexuality, and stuff like that. And you don't need to repeat that, but you need to go back to when wrestlers used to tell stories and used to be characters. Everybody knows it's fake, sure, but again, and I say this 100 times, so what if it's fake? So is TV. So are movies. So are cartoons. So are comic books. But we all buy into those knowing that they're fake because we know that at the end of the day, these are just characters that are being portrayed. These are characters in a piece of entertainment playing a certain role. When we see actors play certain roles, we don't sit here and be like, Samuel Jackson is so fucking fake. What he's doing is fake. No, because we know he's pretending to be something. We know these wrestling athletes are pretending to be the Willow and the Wisp, to be Bray Wyatt, to, be Dean Ambrose. And a lot of times with wrestling, part of their character reflects their personality, which makes it even better. But why can't we just buy in anymore and just have fun with that? You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people did with the Final Deletion. And that's what I think a lot of these wrestling promotions need to realize is that, hey, that shit still works. I'm not saying go over the top, wild and insane like them, but you need to start getting back to this, like letting people find their characters. Because you can tell this is all Matt and Jeff. This ain't something that was written by TNA because they were way too into it for it to be something that just some fucking promoter came up with. This is theirs. They're owning it. And if you go on Matt and Jeff's Twitter, they're owning the fuck out of it. Jeff's talking about how it's a lonely and deletion. Matt's just going and like mess up with all these memes that come up. They own this. Let these wrestlers develop something that can possibly connect with the crowd. Stop trying to put them in a box and manicure things. Let wrestlers be wrestlers like they used to be. You know what I mean? Let promoters, people who are in wrestling people, like I feel like if they would let Triple H completely run WWE, things would be much, much better. But no, Vince has to have that control because he needs to make sure that he doesn't lose any sponsorships or anything like that and appease the board members and stuff like that. No, let wrestlers be wrestlers. That's what made wrestling fun. That's what always has made wrestling be fun. Let these guys develop a character. If it sucks, move on to another character. Find somebody who's good at it, For every Stone Cold, there was a Santino Marella. Not everybody's going to be good. Not everybody's going to be worth watching. Fuck that up. But let it happen. Let it happen naturally. It's more entertainment that way. It's more entertaining. But hopefully we can get back to that. Wow. Editorial, just briefly. It's more of a thank you. Thank you for all the support, all the people who've come out, and watch the videos, join SoundCloud, listen to the podcasts and things like that. We really, really appreciate it, and it's great to see that we're starting to slowly but surely. It's a small community, but it's a community that's growing, and I like that. And it's only going to get bigger and better. And your help is what's going to make it that way. We also encourage content creators, please. If you want to find some place that you can express yourself and share your information, our Twitter's always open. Now that I have the community page on Facebook, that's open for you guys to discuss on. The website will be up, and I'll be sharing people's links and information and their art. That's there. We're trying to make sure that we can give people an outlet so that they can share their creativity, their thoughts, and things like that. Because that's what we do here at the Wise Guy Gaming Sports and Entertainment. And that's what we were going to continue to do. Still working on some new show formats that I'm trying to figure out and things like that. But you know, hopefully we continue growing, and we thank you guys for being with us and helping us grow. All right, so that is the end of this one. We will see you guys next week. Again, you can get the audio format on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and iTunes. As soon as it shows up, not too long after, those will be available. So you'll see the links in the description on where you want to go to find that stuff. And of course, again, there's the Patreon page. Please support that. And again, thank you to our first sponsor, Just Read. His information is below in the description. Check him out. It's well worth it. And that's about it. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we will see you next time on the Wise Guy Digest. Peace.